Have you ever stood at a crossroads in your life, not of a physical path, but of a deeper, more profound choice? A choice about who you are meant to become. You look around, and the world offers you 1,000 different maps, 1,000,000 different voices telling you where to go, what to do, how to be happy, successful, and fulfilled. We are saturated with information, flooded with productivity hacks, and endless lists of habits for success. Yet for so many, a quiet sense of disorientation remains. It feels like we are navigating a vast, endless ocean with countless stars above, but without a single, trusted constellation to guide us home. This feeling, this question of what is my true path, is not a modern dilemma. It is a timeless human quest. We search for a sign, a whisper from the universe, a confirmation that we are moving in the right direction, that our efforts are not in vain, and that there is a grander design to our existence. The problem is not a lack of answers, but our ability to hear them. We have been led to believe that the answers lie outside of ourselves, in the next guru, the next trend, the next quick fix. We've been taught to interpret the universe's silence as absence, its subtlety as indifference. But what if the greatest guidance system ever created wasn't external at all? What if the most profound messages from the universe, the very secrets to unlocking your potential and aligning with your destiny, have been patiently waiting for you all along, encoded in stories, philosophies, and timeless wisdom? What if the challenge isn't about finding the right map, but about learning to read the one that has been given to you? This journey we are about to embark upon is a solution to that modern noise. It is a return to the signal. We will gently peel back the layers of complexity and reveal a simple, yet powerful truth, that the universe is always speaking to you. And we will do this by exploring the most potent vessels of this wisdom, books. More specifically, we will immerse ourselves in the world of audiobooks, a gateway that allows these transformative ideas to become the soundtrack of your life. We will delve into the profound teachings of the law of attraction, not as a mere tool for manifestation, but as a fundamental principle of reality. We will explore the frontiers of self-development, not for superficial change, but for deep, internal transformation. And most importantly, we will learn to listen, to recognize the universe's messages, not in grand, dramatic events, but in the synchronicities, the whispers, and the powerful narratives that have the ability to reshape our inner world. And in doing so, reshape our outer reality. This is not just about listening to books, it's about learning to hear the voice of your own potential. The universe is not silent, nor is it chaotic. It is a symphony, a grand, cosmic orchestra playing a composition of infinite complexity and perfect harmony. Every star, every planet, every grain of sand, and every living being is an instrument in this orchestra, each vibrating, each emitting a unique note, a specific frequency that contributes to the whole. You, too, are an instrument in this symphony. You are not merely a passive listener to the music of life. You are an active composer, constantly sending out your own vibrational signature, your own tone, into the cosmos. And the most fundamental rule of this symphony, the unchanging principle that governs how all these notes interact, is known as the law of attraction. This is not a New Age fantasy or a tool for wishful thinking. It is a law as fundamental, as impersonal, and as reliable as the law of gravity. Gravity does not judge whether you are a good or bad person before it holds you to the earth. It simply responds to mass. In the same way, the law of attraction does not judge your desires as worthy or unworthy. It simply responds to your vibration. At its core, the law is profoundly simple: like attracts like. This means that which is similar in vibration is drawn together. To understand this, we must first accept a foundational truth about our world. Everything is energy. The chair you are sitting on, the air you are breathing, the device on which you are listening to these words, they all appear solid and separate, but at their most fundamental level, they are swirling vortexes of energy, vibrating at different frequencies. This is no longer the realm of mysticism. It is the bedrock of modern physics. And the most potent, most creative, and most volatile form of energy in your personal universe is the energy of your thoughts and feelings. Your thoughts are not passive, private little events that happen inside your skull. They are active, dynamic bursts of energy. They are vibrational signals that you broadcast out into the universe, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your mind is the most powerful transmission tower in existence, and the frequency you broadcast on is determined by the nature of your dominant thoughts and, even more importantly, your dominant feelings. This is where the critical distinction must be made, the one that separates true understanding from simple daydreaming. The universe does not respond to your fleeting wishes or your idle fantasies. It does not deliver your desires like a cosmic bellhop simply because you thought about them once or twice. The universe responds to your state of being, to your embodied belief, to the emotional frequency you inhabit. Thinking about wealth while feeling a deep, gut-wrenching sense of lack is like trying to tune a radio to a classical station while the dial is firmly set on rock and roll. The frequencies are mismatched. You are sending out a contradictory signal, a blast of static. The thought of wealth is a weak signal, easily overpowered by the thunderous, broadcast power of your feeling of lack. To truly apply the law of attraction, you must align your thoughts with your emotions. You must cultivate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You must feel the joy, the gratitude, the security of your desire as if it were already your present reality. This is not about deceiving yourself, it is about aligning yourself. It is an act of conscious, vibrational tuning. You choose the frequency, and then the law, impartial and unwavering, begins to attract other energies that resonate with it, drawing to you the people, the circumstances, and the opportunities that match your internal state. Your world, everything you see and experience, is a flawless mirror, reflecting your dominant vibration back to you. If you broadcast anger and resentment, the world will mirror back to you more reasons to be angry and resentful. If you broadcast gratitude and joy, the world will magically rearrange itself to give you more to be grateful and joyful for. Perhaps the most potent modern parable for this principle in action is the story of the very phenomenon that brought it to mass awareness, The Secret. In the early 2000s, an Australian television producer named Rhonda Byrne was at a moment of personal and professional collapse. Her father had died suddenly, her relationships were in turmoil, and her career felt like it was hitting a dead end. In her despair, her daughter handed her a copy of a century-old book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. A spark was lit. Byrne began to trace this single, powerful idea, the law of attraction, back through history, finding its echoes in the teachings of the world's greatest leaders, thinkers, and spiritual masters. An idea began to form, not just to learn about this law, but to broadcast it to the world. She envisioned a film that would capture this timeless wisdom and share it in a way that was accessible to everyone. But she had no budget, no major studio backing, and a concept that was, at the time, far outside the mainstream. Here is where the story becomes a perfect demonstration of the law itself. Instead of focusing on the lack of resources, the team she assembled focused with singular, unwavering intensity on the vision of the completed project. They created vision boards, not just of money or success, but of the film's global impact. Of Oprah Winfrey holding their DVD on her show. Of headlines from the New York Times praising their work. They didn't just hope for success, they lived in the feeling of its inevitability. They cultivated the exact vibrational frequency of the reality they wished to create, long before any physical evidence of it existed. They acted as if their success was not a future possibility, but a present certainty. The stories of synchronicities that followed are legendary. Funding appeared from unexpected sources, teachers and experts from around the world felt compelled to participate, and doors that should have been locked tight swung wide open. When The Secret was finally released, it did not just become a success, it became a global phenomenon, a cultural touchstone that sold tens of millions of copies and was translated into over 50 languages, precisely mirroring the vision they had held so powerfully in their minds and hearts. The creation of The Secret was The Secret in action. It was a testament to the fact that an idea, an intangible burst of energy, when fueled by unwavering belief and emotion, must, by law, attract its physical equivalent. It proved that we are all broadcasters, and the universe is the ever-present audience, listening not to our words, but to our music. Once we truly grasp this, the implications are staggering. It means that nothing is truly happening to you, but rather, everything is responding through you. You are the source point, the creative center of your own reality. The symphony of your life is playing, and you are its conductor. The fundamental law has been established. The next question, then, is the most practical, and the most important one of all. If the universe responds to our internal broadcast, how do we gain conscious control over the transmitter? How do we master the primary source of our vibration, the powerful, and often untamed, world of our own minds? If the universe is a symphony that responds to our vibration, then our mind is the master broadcaster, the instrument through which our personal song is played. For centuries, we have been mystified by the mind, often seeing it as an untamable beast, a source of relentless chatter that dictates our moods and our actions. We say I am anxious or I am worried, as if these states are the very essence of who we are. But the greatest shift in perspective, the one that unlocks the door to conscious creation, is understanding that you are not your mind. You are the master of your mind, or at least, you are designed to be. The thoughts that race through your awareness are not random, inevitable events. They are seeds, and your mind is the most fertile garden in the universe. It is a plot of land given to you at birth, and every single day, you are engaged in the act of gardening, whether you are conscious of it or not. Think of your subconscious mind as the rich, dark, fertile soil. It is completely impartial. It will grow any seed you plant within it, without judgment or preference. It will grow a seed of fear just as readily as it will grow a seed of abundance. It will nourish a nightshade of resentment as powerfully as it will a rose of love. Your conscious mind is the gardener. You have the ability to choose which seeds to plant, which thoughts to cultivate and water with your attention. You also have the choice to allow any stray seed, blown in by the winds of media, public opinion, or the negativity of others, to take root and flourish. For most of us, our gardens have been left untended. We have allowed weeds of doubt, worry, and self-limitation to grow so thick and tall that they have choked out the light, and we have forgotten the beautiful flowers we were meant to cultivate. The first and most powerful act of taking control of your life is to become a conscious gardener. To begin pulling the weeds and deliberately planting the seeds of the reality you wish to experience. This is not just a beautiful metaphor, it is a biological fact, confirmed by the discoveries of modern neuroscience. The concept is called neuroplasticity, and it is perhaps the most empowering scientific revelation of our time. It proves that your brain is not a fixed, static organ. It is a dynamic, living structure that physically changes and reorganizes itself in response to your thoughts and experiences. Every time you have a thought, a tiny electrical current fires between your brain cells, your neurons. When you repeat that thought, the connection between those neurons becomes stronger. It is like forging a path in a dense forest. The first time you walk it, it is difficult. You have to push through the undergrowth. But if you walk that same path every single day, soon a trail forms, then a well-worn path, and eventually a wide, clear road that becomes your default route. This is precisely what happens in your brain. Chronic worrying carves a superhighway for anxious thoughts, making it easier and more automatic to worry in the future. Deliberately practicing gratitude carves a different highway, making gratitude your brain's new default path. To change your mind is not a figure of speech. You are literally a neurosculptor, rewiring the physical hardware of your brain with the software of your repeated thoughts. You are building the very circuitry through which your perception of reality will flow. So how do we begin this process, especially when the mental chatter feels so overwhelming and automatic? The key is to shift from being the thinker to being the observer of the thinker. Imagine you are sitting by the bank of a river. The thoughts are like leaves floating by on the current. Before, you believed you were the leaf, tossed about by the water's flow. The practice now is to remain on the bank and simply watch the leaves go by. A fearful thought appears, you see it, acknowledge it without judgment, and let it float away. An angry thought appears, you note it, there is anger, and you let it pass. You are not the leaves, you are the silent, spacious awareness watching them. In quantum physics, there is a concept called the observer effect, where the very act of observing a particle changes its behavior. A similar principle applies to your mind. The moment you begin to non-judgmentally observe your thoughts, you create a space between you and the thought. In that space lies your freedom, your power to choose. You realize that a thought is just a suggestion, an energetic proposal, and you have no obligation to believe it, act on it, or identify with it. This practice quiets the random noise and allows you to move from being a receiver of static to a focused broadcaster. Over a century ago, the writer James Allen distilled this entire philosophy into a slender, powerful volume called As a Man Thinketh. It is not a book of techniques, but a profound statement of principle. Allen's core message is that a human being is literally what they think, their character being the complete and total sum of all their thoughts. He gave us the timeless analogy of the mind as a garden, writing that it may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But he also used another powerful image, that of a blacksmith. He argued that we are the forgers of our own character, standing before the anvil of life. Every thought is a hammer blow, shaping the raw material of our being. With pure thoughts, we forge a character of grace and power. With confused and negative thoughts, we forge a being that is weak and miserable. The circumstances we experience, Allen wrote, are not the cause of who we are, but the result. They are the external manifestation of the character we have forged in the secret furnace of our own mind. He urged us to understand that we are not creatures of circumstance, but that circumstances are the tools we use to shape ourselves, whether consciously or unconsciously. So the journey begins here, with this fundamental understanding. Your mind is a garden you must cultivate. Your brain is the living proof of that cultivation, physically changing with every thought you sustain. And your primary tool is the power of detached observation, the ability to become the silent witness. We must move beyond being the blacksmith who swings the hammer randomly, reacting to every spark and stray noise. We must become the master artisan who knows exactly what they want to create, and who brings the hammer down with focused, deliberate, and powerful intention. But a blueprint, no matter how precise, and a blacksmith, no matter how skilled, are useless without one critical element: energy. A thought is a blueprint, but it is not the power that builds the house. A hammer blow is nothing without the muscular force behind it. The next question, therefore, is what is the fuel? What is the cosmic current that takes the blueprint of a thought and gives it the power to manifest in the material world? This is where we move from the architect's office of the mind to the engine room of the soul, the realm of feeling and emotion. If thought is the silent, architectural blueprint of our reality, then emotion is the electric current that brings the design to life. It is the vibrational fuel, the alchemical fire that transforms the intangible idea into tangible experience. A thought without feeling is a schematic without a builder, a car without gasoline, a ship without wind in its sails. It is a potential that remains dormant. This is the secret that many who explore these ideas fail to grasp. They spend their days trying to police their thoughts, forcing affirmations through a mind that remains emotionally unconvinced. And they wonder why their reality stays the same. The universe does not respond to the words you say or the images you hold in your mind nearly as much as it responds to the feeling state from which you broadcast. Feeling is the prayer that is always answered, because feeling is the language of the cosmos. To understand this, imagine a vibrational scale. At the very bottom are the dense, heavy, low-frequency emotions: shame, guilt, grief, and fear. When you are in these states, how does your body feel? It feels heavy, constricted, closed off. Your breathing is shallow, your shoulders are hunched. This is not a metaphor. This is the physical reality of a low-frequency state. At the top of the scale are the light, expansive, high-frequency emotions: peace, joy, love, and gratitude. How does your body feel when you experience genuine joy? It feels light, open, and energetic. You want to smile. Your chest feels expansive. This scale is not a moral judgment of good or bad emotions. It is a description of physics, like hot and cold. Your emotional state at any given moment determines your position on this scale, and your position determines your point of attraction. You simply cannot create a joyful experience from a state of fear, because they exist on entirely different vibrational planes. To attract a reality that is filled with love and abundance, you must find a way to inhabit the feeling of love and abundance first. But our minds are clever, and they can easily deceive us. We can tell ourselves we are thinking positive thoughts while our subconscious is riddled with doubt. So how do we know our true vibrational output? We consult the most honest and accurate instrument we have: our own body. Your body is a flawless, real-time compass for your emotional frequency. It does not lie. When you consider a particular thought, a goal, or a desire, check in with your body. How does it make you feel? Does the thought of your goal create a knot of anxiety in your stomach, a tightness in your chest? That is your body's compass telling you that, despite your positive intention, your dominant vibration is one of fear or doubt. Does the thought of your goal create a feeling of warmth, of excitement, of a gentle opening in your heart? That is your compass confirming that you are in a state of positive attraction, of vibrational alignment. Learning to ask "how does this feel?" is more important than asking "what do I think?" Your gut feeling is not a mystical guess, it is a precise reading of your energetic signature. The great 20th century mystic, Neville Goddard, built his entire philosophy on this single, powerful principle. He taught that the key to creation was to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He wasn't talking about pretending or intellectual make-believe. He was teaching a form of profound, emotional alchemy. It is the art of deliberately embodying the emotional state of your desire before it is physically manifested. To practice this is to move beyond mere thinking. For example, if one desires to heal a broken relationship, they would not simply visualize friendly conversations. They would, in their imagination, close their eyes and generate the actual feeling of relief. They would feel the warmth of forgiveness in their chest, the sense of ease and laughter, the profound peace of reconciliation. They would fall asleep at night, saturated in the feeling that the relationship is already healed, whole, and happy. According to Goddard, this persistent assumption of the feeling impresses the subconscious mind, which he saw as God's creative power within us. The subconscious then takes this feeling as a command, a finished reality, and begins to rearrange the physical world, guiding our actions, our words, and the actions of others, to bring forth the external reality that perfectly mirrors the internal feeling we have assumed. This, then, is the work of a true creator, to become an emotional alchemist. It is not about suppressing or denying so-called negative emotions. To resist a feeling is to give it more power. When fear or anger arises, the alchemist does not fight it. They acknowledge it. They allow it to be felt without judgment, as a passing cloud. But they do not build a house there. They do not set up camp in the land of fear. Instead, they acknowledge the feeling and then deliberately, consciously, choose to activate a different one. They might recall a memory of pure joy. They might look at a picture of a loved one. They might step outside and feel the sun on their skin. They do something to consciously shift their own frequency. This is the great work, to transmute the lead of fear into the gold of love. We have established that thought is the blueprint, and that emotion is the current that makes it real. We are the architects and we are the engineers of our own experience. So, if our primary task is to consciously cultivate a high-frequency emotional state, we must ask, what is the master key? What is the single most powerful, most accessible, and most transformative emotion we can generate in an instant, regardless of our external circumstances? This brings us to the very heart of the alchemical furnace, the single emotion that can unlock all others: gratitude. In the grand orchestra of creation, where thought is the composition and emotion is the energy, there exists a master key, a single frequency that has the power to harmonize all others, to unlock doors that seemed permanently sealed, and to tune your very being to the vibration of abundance and receiving. This master key is not complex, nor is it difficult to find. It is gratitude, but not the gratitude of polite society. Not the perfunctory "thank you" that we are taught to recite. This is a different quality of being altogether. It is a profound, resonant, embodied state of appreciation. It is the actual frequency of abundance. It is the feeling state that signals to the universe, with undeniable power, I have enough, I am whole, all is well. It is the ultimate creative stance. To understand its power, you must first understand what it eradicates. It is a fundamental law of emotion that you cannot feel genuine, heart-swelling gratitude and a gnawing sense of lack at the very same moment. They are polar opposites on the vibrational spectrum. They are emotional oil and water. They simply cannot coexist. A mind focused on lack is constantly scanning the horizon for what is missing, what is wrong, what is not enough. It is a state of perpetual hunger and poverty, regardless of one's bank account. Gratitude is the perfect and complete antidote to this poverty mindset. It is the light that, when switched on, instantly banishes the darkness of lack. You do not get rid of a feeling of scarcity by fighting it or resisting it. You dissolve it by activating its opposite. The moment you generate a true feeling of gratitude, for the air in your lungs, for the warmth of the sun, for a single happy memory, you have shifted your entire energetic being from a state of not enough to a state of more than enough. You have changed your point of attraction. Think of gratitude as a cosmic amplifier. The unwavering law of attraction dictates that what you focus on, you get more of. When you complain about your health, you are focusing on sickness, and the law dutifully brings you more evidence to support your complaint. When you express genuine gratitude for the health you do possess, for the parts of your body that work perfectly, for the simple miracle of being alive, you are focusing your powerful attention on wellness. The law then, as a perfect mirror, must reflect back to you more circumstances and experiences that match that vibration of wellness. Whatever you appreciate, appreciates. When you are grateful for the money you have, no matter how small the amount, you are celebrating your abundance, and more abundance is drawn to you. When you are grateful for the love in your life, that love deepens and expands. Gratitude takes the good that is already present and multiplies it. It amplifies the signal of what is working, which in turn calls forth even more experiences that work. It is the most practical and powerful magic there is. The story of Dr. Joe Vitale, a man who became widely known through the film The Secret, serves as a stark and powerful testament to this principle. Before he was a celebrated author and speaker, Vitale experienced a period of profound hardship, including homelessness. He lived in poverty, desperation, and what he described as a victim mindset, constantly focused on what he didn't have. His turning point did not come from a change in his external circumstances, but from a radical shift in his internal state. He began, deliberately and relentlessly, to practice gratitude. He started with the absolute basics. He was grateful for the public library that allowed him to read and learn for free. He was grateful for the food he was given. He was grateful for simply being alive. He consciously withdrew his energy from the picture of his lack and poured it into a feeling of appreciation for what he had. This act changed his vibrational signature from one of poverty to one of sufficiency. And from that new vibrational standpoint, his entire world began to reorganize itself. Opportunities began to appear. Ideas flowed to him. People who could help him were drawn into his life. His journey from the streets to global success was not a stroke of luck. It was a textbook case of vibrational alchemy, with gratitude as the primary catalyst. He changed his feeling first, and his world had no choice but to change to match it. This leads to an advanced and potent application of the principle, gratitude for the future. This is the practice of giving thanks for what you desire as if you have already received it. It is the fusion of Neville Goddard's feeling of the wish fulfilled with the amplifying power of gratitude. Instead of pleading with the universe, "Please bring me a loving partner," you shift into the state of, "I am so deeply grateful for the incredible love that fills my life, for the perfect partner who is my best friend and my greatest champion." Instead of saying, "I hope I get that job," you embody the feeling of, "I am so thankful and excited about this amazing new career, where my talents are celebrated and I am compensated abundantly." This practice is so powerful because it collapses time. It erases the vibrational gap between you and your desire. It places you, right now, in the exact emotional and energetic state of the person who already has what you want. It sends the clearest, most coherent, and most powerful signal possible into the field of infinite potential. When you make gratitude your default state, your home frequency, something truly magical begins to happen. The world around you starts to change, not just in what it brings to you, but in what it shows you. You begin to notice the subtle patterns, the meaningful coincidences, the serendipities that were always there but were invisible to you from a state of lack. Your perception is cleansed. The world stops looking like a random collection of chaotic events and starts to look like a conversation, a dance between you and the cosmos. You begin to realize the universe has been leaving you messages, winking at you, and showing you the way all along. Your practice of gratitude opens your eyes to see them. This newfound clarity begs the question, how do we learn to interpret this conversation? How do we recognize the universe's guidance when it appears? When your inner world shifts, when you make gratitude your home and tune your being to the frequency of love and abundance, you cleanse the very lens through which you perceive reality. The world, which once seemed random, chaotic, or even hostile, begins to reveal its underlying intelligence and harmony. You begin to notice that you are not just speaking to the universe is actively speaking back to you. It communicates in a subtle, symbolic language through events that seem too perfect to be mere chance. It speaks in the language of signs and synchronicities. A synchronicity, a term coined by the great psychologist Carl Jung, is not just a coincidence, it is a meaningful coincidence. It is a moment when your inner world, a thought, a question, a feeling, is perfectly mirrored by an event in the outer world, creating a jolt of recognition, a feeling that you are on the right path. It's when you are wrestling with a decision, and you turn on the radio to hear a song whose lyrics contain the very answer you were seeking. It's thinking of a friend you haven't spoken to in a decade, only to have them call you that very afternoon. These are not random accidents. They are winks from the cosmos, whispers from the universal intelligence confirming that it hears you, and that you are connected to its flow. Now, for the logical mind, this can sound like wishful thinking, like finding patterns where none exist. But there is a fascinating neurological basis for this phenomenon. Within your brainstem is a network of neurons called the reticular activating system, or RAS. The RAS acts as a filter, a gatekeeper for the billions of bits of information that bombard your senses every second. It is impossible for your conscious mind to process everything, so your RAS filters out what it deems irrelevant and only allows what is important to pass through to your awareness. And what does it consider important? Whatever you tell it is important. This is why when you decide to buy a specific model of a red car, you suddenly start seeing that exact red car everywhere. The number of red cars on the road hasn't increased. Your brain has simply been instructed to tag that information as important, so it now points it out to you. When you set a clear intention, when you focus on a goal, when you saturate your mind with a feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are programming your RAS. You are telling your brain, find me evidence of this reality. The universe then seems to conspire to help you, presenting you with the very signs and synchronicities you've primed your own brain to notice. Perhaps the most beloved story about this very process is Paulo Coelho's masterpiece, The Alchemist. The entire tale of Santiago, the shepherd boy who journeys from Spain to the Egyptian pyramids in search of his treasure, is a lesson in following the omens. From the very beginning, Santiago is taught that to find his personal legend, his true purpose, he must learn to read the language of the world. His journey is a continuous stream of synchronicities. A recurring dream sets him on his path. He meets an old king, Melchizedek, who teaches him that when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. The signs, the omens, are that conspiracy in action. They are the breadcrumbs left by the universe to guide his steps. The most pivotal moment comes when he is in the desert oasis. He observes two hawks in the sky, and in their flight, he has a sudden, powerful vision of an army attacking the oasis. It makes no logical sense, but the vision comes with a feeling of undeniable certainty. He trusts the omen, warns the tribal chieftains, and ultimately saves the oasis. This story teaches us that the path to our greatest treasure is not a straight, logical line, but a winding journey of trusting these seemingly random, yet deeply meaningful signs. The key, then, is learning how to interpret this language without falling into paranoia or forcing meaning onto every single event. The filter is not your intellect, it is your intuition, your feeling. A true sign, a true synchronicity, lands with an emotional and physical resonance. It gives you a little jolt, a sudden intake of breath, goosebumps on your skin, or a profound sense of peace and recognition. It's an aha moment that feels like a puzzle piece clicking perfectly into place. If you have to sit and logically analyze for 10 minutes whether something was a sign or not, it probably wasn't. The real messages don't need to be deciphered by the mind, they are felt by the soul. They are personal and have a significance that is unique to you and your journey. It is about cultivating a relationship with this universal intelligence, learning its unique way of speaking to you, and developing the courage to trust the guidance when it arrives, just as Santiago trusted the hawks. As you begin to walk this path, paying attention to the whispers, following the omens, a new feeling begins to dawn on you. It is the distinct and comforting feeling that you are not alone on this journey. You feel supported, guided, and even protected by an unseen intelligence, a benevolent force that is actively conspiring for your success. This palpable sense of support naturally leads to a deeper question. Is this guidance only coming from a diffuse, universal intelligence, or could there be more specific, more personal forms of help available to us? Are there unseen companions, guardians, or guides assigned to us, walking with us every step of the way, helping to arrange these synchronicities for our benefit? This inquiry opens the door to a new and profound dimension of our spiritual support system. The feeling is unmistakable. As you start to follow the trail of synchronicities, a sense of profound and loving guidance begins to permeate your life. You feel held, supported, and watched over. The question that naturally arises from this feeling is, who is doing the holding? Who are the unseen arrangers of these meaningful coincidences? The answer opens up a dimension of reality that is deeply comforting and empowering. You are not on this journey alone. You have a spiritual support team, an unseen entourage of benevolent beings whose entire purpose is to guide, protect, and assist you. This team often consists of what we call spirit guides, angels, and your own higher self. Spirit guides can be thought of as non-physical mentors, wise and loving souls who have contracted to help you navigate the specific lessons of this lifetime. Angels are often perceived as powerful beings of pure love and light, divine messengers and protectors who operate on a universal level. And perhaps the most important member of your team is your higher self, the eternal, all-knowing part of your own consciousness that is never separate from source energy. The part of you that holds the complete blueprint for your soul's journey. However, there is one paramount, unbreakable rule in this relationship, a law that governs all interaction between the physical and non-physical realms. It is the law of free will. Your support team cannot and will not intervene in your life unless you ask them to. They honor your free will so completely that they will stand by and allow you to learn your lessons the hard way, to struggle and to suffer. If that is what you are choosing, consciously or unconsciously, imagine them as a team of the world's greatest advisors and friends, standing just outside the door to your room. They can see that you are struggling to solve a puzzle, but they will not break down the door and solve it for you. That would rob you of the immense satisfaction and growth that comes from figuring it out yourself. They will wait patiently and lovingly for you to unlock the door from your side and say, "I could really use some help." The simple act of asking, the sincere invitation, is you turning the key. It is the permission slip that allows them to enter and offer their profound assistance. So how do you ask? This is the most beautiful part. It requires no complex ritual, no magic words, no formal ceremony. It simply requires a sincere and heartfelt request. It is a conversation with the divine. You can do it out loud or in the silence of your own mind. As you're falling asleep, you might say, "Angels, guides, my higher self, I am feeling lost about my career path. Please send me a clear sign that I can't misinterpret. Please show me the next step." In a moment of fear or danger, a simple, "Angels, please surround me and protect me now," is an incredibly powerful invocation. When you are faced with a difficult decision, "Higher self, please help me see this situation from your perspective." From a perspective of love. The sincerity in your heart is the only credential you need. It is the signal that pierces through the veil, the call that is always, without exception, answered. Their answers often come through the very channels we have been exploring. They are the masters of synchronicity, the unseen hands that nudge a friend to call you, that arrange for you to see the same number sequence repeatedly, that place the right book in your path at the perfect moment. They communicate through your intuition, that gut feeling, that deep inner knowing that transcends logic. They can plant ideas in your mind that feel like your own brilliant insights, or comfort you in your dreams with symbols and feelings of peace. The classic and beloved poem, Footprints in the Sand, is perhaps the most perfect illustration of this divine support. In the poem, a person looks back on their life, visualized as footprints on a beach. They see two sets of footprints for most of the way, one belonging to them and one to the Lord. But they notice that during the lowest, most difficult times in their life, there is only one set of footprints. In anguish, they ask, "Lord, you promised that you would walk with me all the way. Why did you abandon me when I needed you most?" And the Lord replies with infinite compassion, "My precious child, I love you and I would never leave you." During your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. This feeling of being carried is the literal work of your unseen team, who step in most powerfully when you feel most alone. The realization that you are surrounded by such profound, unconditional love and support is life-altering. It instills a new sense of courage and safety. It allows you to face the world with the confidence that you are never truly alone, that help is always just a request away. This newfound sense of security naturally leads you to look at the challenges and difficulties of your life in an entirely new light. What if the obstacles you face are not random misfortunes or punishments from a cruel universe? What if they are not roadblocks at all? What if every single challenge, every hardship, and every moment of pain is, in fact, a divinely orchestrated growth opportunity, a lesson handpicked by your own higher self and your guides, designed with perfect precision to help you evolve into the magnificent being you came here to be? With the profound understanding that you are eternally supported by a team of unseen guides, the entire landscape of your life begins to shift. The mountains that once seemed like insurmountable barriers now look like opportunities to climb. The storms that felt like cosmic punishments now feel like cleansing rains. This is the beginning of one of the most crucial shifts in consciousness you will ever make. The shift from believing the universe is happening to you, to knowing it is happening for you. Every event, every encounter, and especially every single challenge, is not a random act of a chaotic world, but a custom-designed lesson in a divine obstacle course created for your soul's evolution. Before you came into this life, from a place of infinite wisdom and unconditional love, your higher self, the eternal part of you, laid out a curriculum. It chose specific themes and lessons it wanted to master in this lifetime. Perhaps it chose to master forgiveness, so it designed a life that would include experiences of betrayal, providing the perfect opportunity to practice. Perhaps it chose to learn unconditional self-worth, so it created circumstances where you would be tempted to seek validation externally, only to learn that true worth comes from within. Your challenges are not a sign that you are doing something wrong. They are a sign that you are enrolled in your soul's chosen class. Life is not a battlefield to be survived. It is a classroom to be experienced. And the first step to graduating is to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, with genuine curiosity, "What is this trying to teach me?" Think of the universe as a divine gymnasium. The obstacles and difficulties you face are the weights. A heavy barbell is not inherently bad or good. To someone who has never trained, it is a crushing, impossible weight. To a seasoned weightlifter, it is the very tool that builds their strength. The pain doesn't come from the weight itself, but from the resistance to it. or from attempting to lift it before you are ready. Your challenges are perfectly calibrated for your growth. They are designed to build your spiritual muscles, your resilience, your compassion, your wisdom, and your faith. When you resist a challenge, when you complain about it and see it as an injustice, you are straining against the weight, causing yourself immense pain and struggle. When you accept the challenge and begin to lift it by looking for the lesson within, you begin to build a strength you never knew you possessed. There is a powerful parable that illustrates this principle perfectly. A man found the chrysalis of a butterfly and decided to watch it as the butterfly struggled to emerge. For hours, the butterfly fought to force its body through a tiny little hole. It seemed to be making no progress, and the man, in his kindness and pity, decided to help. He took a pair of scissors and snipped the remaining bit of the chrysalis. The butterfly emerged easily, but its body was swollen and its wings were shriveled and weak. The man waited for the wings to enlarge and support the butterfly, but they never did. The butterfly spent the rest of its life crawling around, unable to fly. What the man, in his well-meaning haste, did not understand was that the restricting chrysalis and the struggle required to get through the tiny opening were nature's perfect design. That struggle is what forces fluid from the butterfly's body into its wings, making them strong enough for flight. By sparing the butterfly the struggle, he had denied it its destiny. Your struggles are your chrysalis. They are the necessary pressure that strengthens your wings. Your guides know this, which is why they will support and comfort you through the struggle. But they will not take it away from you, for they would be robbing you of your own magnificent power to fly. Every wound contains a gift. Every challenge holds a treasure. The pain of life is not the challenge itself, but the failure to find the treasure within it. The universe creates pearls in a similar way. A pearl begins its life as an irritant, a stray grain of sand that invades the oyster's shell. It is an intrusion, a challenge to the oyster's well-being. The oyster does not fight the grain of sand. Instead, it begins a process of transformation. It coats the irritant, layer by layer, with a beautiful, luminous, and strong substance called nacre. Over years of this patient, gentle response, the source of the irritation is transformed into a priceless, iridescent pearl. We cannot always prevent the grains of sand, the irritants and challenges from entering our lives, but we have absolute power over our response. We can allow them to irritate us, to make us bitter and resentful. Or we can choose to coat them with layers of patience, grace, understanding, and self-love, and in doing so, create a pearl of spiritual wisdom that becomes our greatest treasure. When you truly integrate this perspective, your past transforms from a source of pain into a library of lessons. You see that every difficulty you have ever faced was a part of your soul's perfect curriculum. As you examine this curriculum, you may begin to notice that many of your most persistent challenges, the recurring themes and patterns in your life, are rooted in your earliest experiences. The divine obstacle course often leads us back to the beginning, to the tender wounds of childhood. To truly move forward and create the most beautiful pearls, we must first have the courage to travel back and offer healing to the part of us where the original wound was formed. This brings us to one of the most profound and necessary journeys in all of human development, the journey of healing the inner child. As you begin to view your life as a divine curriculum, you'll notice the same subjects reappearing, the same patterns playing out in your relationships, your career, and your private struggles. The curriculum of the soul often spirals back to a single origin point, the classroom of your childhood. Within every adult, there is a younger self, an inner child who holds the memories of your earliest experiences. This child is the source of your greatest joy, your capacity for wonder, your creativity, and your ability to be present in the moment. But this inner child also carries the echoes of your first pains, your deepest fears, and the limiting beliefs you formed about yourself and the world, long before your logical mind could intervene. To become a whole, integrated adult, you must have the courage to turn back, to meet this child, and to heal their wounds. These wounds are not always the result of major, overt trauma. They are often formed in the quiet, subtle moments of childhood. A parent who was consistently distracted by work might have unintentionally taught their child the belief, "I am not important." A teacher's careless criticism about an art project could have planted the seed of, "I am not creative, I am not good enough." Being told to be quiet repeatedly might have created the core belief, "My voice doesn't matter." A child's mind interprets the world in simple, direct terms, and these interpretations, formed without adult context, become the foundational programming of the subconscious mind. This programming then runs silently in the background of your entire adult life, a ghost in the machine dictating your reactions, sabotaging your relationships, and limiting your potential, all in a misguided attempt to protect you from being hurt in the same way again. How do you know when your inner child is crying out for attention? You can see it in the patterns of your adult life. That overwhelming, irrational fear of your partner leaving you is often the terror of the child who felt abandoned. That compulsive need to please everyone, to be the good boy or good girl at all costs, is the cry of the child who learned that their worth was conditional upon their performance. A sudden, explosive emotional overreaction to a seemingly minor event is almost always the inner child's past pain being triggered, reacting to a 30-year-old wound as if it were happening right now. These are not signs of brokenness, they are simply signals, messages from a younger part of you asking for the love, safety, and validation it never received. The work is not to silence the child, but to finally give them what they need. This is the sacred process of reparenting. You, the wise and compassionate adult you are today, must become the parent your inner child always longed for. The classic story of the Velveteen Rabbit is perhaps the most beautiful parable for this journey of healing. In the story, the new toy rabbit asks the old, wise skin horse what it means to be real. The skin horse explains that it isn't something you're made with. It's something that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time. He says that by the time you are real, you are often shabby, your hair loved off, your joints loose, but these things don't matter at all, because once you are real you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. We all have a velveteen rabbit inside of us, our tender inner child, often made shabby by the experiences of life. The process of healing, of becoming real and whole, is the act of your adult self finally giving that child the deep, unconditional, and lasting love it always craved. It's about looking at your own wounds, your own shabbiness, and loving that part of you not in spite of the scars, but because of them, because they are proof that you have lived and have the capacity to love. This process of reparenting is an active one. It begins with listening. You must create quiet moments to turn inward and ask, "Little one, how are you feeling? What do you need from me today?" When feelings of fear or sadness bubble up, you don't push them away. You validate them. You say, "I see that you're scared, and it makes sense that you would feel that way. I'm right here with you." You then offer reassurance, the safety the child never had. "You are safe now. I am the adult here, and I will protect you. I will not let anyone hurt you. I will never abandon you." And finally, you offer pure, unconditional love. "I love you exactly as you are. You don't need to do anything or be anyone else to earn my love." This consistent, loving dialogue begins to repair the old faulty wiring, creating new neural pathways of safety, worthiness, and love. As you embark on this sacred journey of reparenting, as you begin to listen to your inner child's story, you will inevitably come face to face with the memories of those who caused the original wounds. In order to truly move forward, in order to convince the child that they are truly safe now, you must address the anger and resentment that still linger. You must confront one of the most challenging, yet liberating, subjects in the entire human curriculum. To free the child, you must learn to release the past. And that brings us to the profound and transformative power of forgiveness. As you sit with your inner child, offering the love and safety it always craved, you inevitably arrive at a locked room in the mansion of your past. This room holds the memories of those who hurt you, the source of the child's original pain. The air is thick with resentment, anger, and a deep sense of injustice. For years, you have stood guard at this door, believing that your anger is what protects you, that your resentment is what punishes the person who wronged you. But the great spiritual paradox, the truth that will set you free, is that unforgiveness is a prison you build for yourself. The anger you feel is a poison you drink every day, hoping the other person will die. Forgiveness, then, is not a gift you give to them. It is the key that unlocks your own cell door. First, it is crucial to understand what forgiveness is not. It is not condoning their behavior. It is not saying that what they did was okay. It is not forgetting the pain they caused, nor does it necessarily mean you must reconcile with them or allow them back into your life. These are the great misunderstandings that keep us chained to the past, because our righteous sense of justice rebels against letting someone off the hook. But forgiveness has nothing to do with them. It is a profound act of self-liberation. It is you, consciously deciding that you will no longer allow an event from the past to contaminate your present and your future. It is you taking back your power. Imagine an energetic cord, thick and heavy, connecting you to the person who hurt you. As long as you hold on to resentment, that cord remains, allowing their poison to continue flowing into your system. Forgiveness is the act of taking a pair of spiritual scissors and cutting that cord once and for all. You are not freeing them, you are freeing yourself. The ultimate real-world example of this principle in action is the life of Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years unjustly imprisoned under brutal conditions for his fight against apartheid, he had every right to emerge from his cell consumed by bitterness and a desire for revenge. The world expected it. Instead, he emerged with a spirit of radical forgiveness that healed an entire nation. He understood a truth that transcends politics and touches the very heart of spiritual law. He famously said, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." He knew the prison was not just the physical walls on Robben Island, but the potential prison of his own mind. His other great teaching on the matter perfectly captures the futility of holding a grudge. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. Mandela chose to liberate himself, and in doing so, he liberated South Africa. This is not just a psychological or spiritual concept. It has profound physical consequences. Holding on to anger, resentment, and a desire for revenge keeps your body in a chronic state of stress, a perpetual fight or flight mode. This state floods your system with corrosive hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. It weakens your immune system, raises your blood pressure, disrupts your digestion, and contributes to chronic inflammation, which is now understood to be at the root of a vast number of diseases. Your unforgiveness is making you sick. It is a heavy weight that your body was never designed to carry long-term. The act of forgiveness, of letting go, is a signal to your nervous system that the war is over. It allows your body to finally stand down, to begin to rest, repair, and heal itself. It is a prescription for your physical health as much as for your spiritual freedom. Finally, and often most importantly, there is one more person you must forgive: yourself. For many, this is the most difficult step of all. We hold ourselves hostage for past mistakes, for choices we made when we didn't have the wisdom we have now. We blame ourselves for not being stronger, for not speaking up, for not seeing the red flags. This self-recrimination is a cruel form of imprisonment. The journey of healing, the inner child, culminates in this ultimate act of reparenting, of turning to that younger version of yourself and offering them the grace you so freely offer to others. You must look at that child who made a mistake or who was scared and say, "I forgive you. You did the very best you could with the knowledge and the tools you had at that time. You are not to blame. We are free now." This act of self-compassion is what finally integrates the fragmented parts of yourself into a healed and coherent whole. By releasing the poison of resentment, you are not just closing a painful chapter. You are performing a sacred act of clearing. You are sweeping out the cobwebs, cleansing the wounds, and airing out the dark, musty rooms of your past. This act doesn't leave a void. It creates a space, a vast, clean, fertile, and sacred space within you. For the first time, you are no longer defined by what was done to you. The baggage of the past has been put down. You are standing in the present moment, unburdened and free. And from this place of clean, open space, you can finally turn your attention away from the past and toward the future. Not as a victim of circumstance, but as the deliberate, conscious, and powerful architect of your reality to come. Having walked the courageous path of forgiveness, you have performed the most sacred act of alchemy. You have taken the leaden weight of your past and transformed it into the golden wisdom of the present. You have cleansed the inner temple, and now you stand within a vast, quiet, and fertile space. The ghosts of yesterday no longer haunt these halls. You are no longer a curator of a museum of past hurts. You are the architect of a future that is yet to be built. And the single most powerful tool you have for this construction, the master blueprint you will hand to the universe, is the power of a conscious intention. This is the moment you stop reacting to life and start creating it. It is vital, first, to understand the subtle but profound difference between a goal and an intention. A goal is a destination, a target in the future. I want to get a promotion. I want to lose 20 pounds. While useful, goals can sometimes keep us in a state of striving, focusing on what we lack and where we are not yet. An intention, however, is a quality of being that you choose to embody in the present moment. It is the how that underlies the what. Instead of "I want a promotion," the intention becomes, "My intention is to bring excellence, creativity, and joyful collaboration to my work every day." Instead of "I want to lose 20 pounds," the intention becomes, "My intention is to honor my body with nourishing food and joyful movement." An intention brings the power out of the speculative future and into the creative power of the now. By living your intention fully, The goals you once chased begin to manifest effortlessly as a natural byproduct of who you have chosen to be. The universe responds to clarity. It cannot deliver a blurry order. A vague desire sends out a weak, diffuse signal that gets lost in the cosmic static. A crystal-clear intention is a laser beam that cuts through the noise. This is why the work of the architect begins with deep self-reflection. You must get quiet enough to distinguish between what you truly want to experience and what society, your family, or your ego thinks you should want. What is the feeling you are truly chasing? Is it really the fancy car, or is it the feeling of freedom and security? Is it really the relationship status, or is it the feeling of deep connection and unconditional love? Getting clear on the desired feeling is the key that unlocks a powerful intention. This clarity acts as a focusing agent for all of your energy, aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions toward a single, coherent point. Perhaps the greatest master of this mental creation was the brilliant inventor, Nikola Tesla. His process of invention was a testament to the power of a perfected intention. Unlike other inventors, who would tinker with wires and parts in a messy workshop, Tesla built his creations entirely within the laboratory of his own mind. He would, in his imagination, build a new motor. He would switch it on and let it run for weeks, observing it for any signs of wear or weakness. He would then mentally disassemble the device, re-engineer the faulty parts, and rebuild it, again, all within his consciousness. By the time he went to the workshop to assemble the physical components, the blueprint in his mind was so flawless, so complete and perfected, that the machine would work exactly as he had envisioned it. Almost every single time, he created a perfect, unshakable intention first, and the material world had no choice but to conform to his powerful, clear design. Once you have this clear blueprint, you must then charge it with the emotional fuel we have already discussed. An intention without feeling is a cold schematic. To bring it to life, you must step into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Close your eyes, and in your mind's eye, see your intention as a present-day reality. What does it feel like to be living in that state of vibrant health, or to be engaged in that creative, fulfilling work? Feel the joy, the peace, the confidence, the gratitude. Let that emotion saturate every cell of your being. This is the process of charging your blueprint, of combining the mental design with the emotional current that sends it out into the universe as an irresistible magnetic command. And then, you must perform the final, paradoxical, and most graceful step of all. You must let it go. This is the art of detachment. After you have planted a seed in a garden, you do not dig it up every day to check on its progress. You trust the process. You water it, you make sure it has sunlight, and you allow nature to do its work. Clinging desperately to your desire, worrying about the how and the when, creates resistance. It signals to the universe a lack of faith, a vibration of doubt that contradicts your original intention. True power lies in setting a clear and powerful intention, and then releasing it with absolute faith, declaring, this, or something even better, for the highest good of all. This entire process, from forgiveness to intention, is the journey from victimhood to sovereignty. You are no longer a ship tossed on the waves of circumstance, but the captain, setting a clear course. It is like programming a destination into a cosmic GPS. You have told the universe where you want to go. But for any GPS to navigate effectively, it must have an understanding of the map, of the terrain upon which the journey takes place. What, then, is the fundamental nature of this reality we are navigating? What is the map of the cosmos? This question leads us beyond simple cause and effect and into the very fabric of existence, to the mind-bending and awe-inspiring discoveries of the quantum world. We have spoken of intention as the blueprint for our future, the destination we program into our cosmic GPS. But what is the map on which this journey takes place? What is the fundamental nature of the reality we seek to navigate? For centuries, we have operated under an old model of the universe, a Newtonian worldview that sees existence as a giant, predictable machine. In this view, the universe is made of solid, separate things, and consciousness is just a random byproduct of chemical reactions in the brain, a ghost in the machine. But for over 100 years, science has been telling us a different story. A story so strange and so profound that it shatters this old worldview entirely. Welcome to the quantum world. Quantum physics, the study of the universe at its most fundamental level, has revealed that what we perceive as solid matter is an illusion. At the subatomic level, there are no solid things, only probabilities, waves of potential. Everything you see, your hand, the stars, the trees, all of it, emerges from a single, invisible, interconnected field of energy and information. This is known as the quantum field, or the unified field. Think of it as a vast, invisible ocean of pure potential, a cosmic womb that contains the information and energy for everything that has ever existed and everything that will ever exist. Everything is connected in this field. You are not separate from the world you see. You are a wave in the same ocean, a temporary expression of the same underlying field. This is a fascinating concept, but the truly mind-bending discovery, the one that changes everything, is what scientists call the observer effect. And the most famous demonstration of this is the double-slit experiment. In this experiment, scientists shoot tiny quantum particles, like electrons, at a barrier with two vertical slits in it. When they don't watch to see which slit the electron goes through, the electron behaves like a wave of pure potential. It seemingly passes through both slits at the same time and creates a specific interference pattern on a detector wall behind the barrier. It exists as a field of possibility, not a single solid thing. But here is where reality bends. The moment the scientists place a detector, an observer, to see which slit the electron actually goes through, the electron instantly stops behaving like a wave. It chooses a single path, goes through only one slit, and behaves like a predictable, solid particle. The interference pattern vanishes. The very act of observing it, of placing conscious attention upon it, forced the wave of infinite possibilities to collapse into a single, concrete event. The electron, in essence, knew it was being watched. The implication of this is perhaps the most profound in all of human history. Consciousness is not a byproduct of reality. Consciousness actively creates reality. And you are the observer. You are the consciousness that is collapsing waves of potential into the experience you call your life. In the quantum field, all potential realities already exist as waves of probability. There is a potential reality where you are vibrantly healthy, a potential where you are magnificently abundant, a potential where you are living your creative purpose, and a potential where you remain stuck in your old patterns. They all exist as possibilities in that invisible field of energy and information. Your focused attention, your clear, emotionally charged intention, is the act of observation. When you place your attention on your desired future, when you feel the feeling of it as if it were already real, you are doing the exact same thing the scientists did in the lab. You are taking your consciousness and placing it on one specific potential out of an infinite number. And you are commanding that wave of possibility to collapse into a particle, into a physical experience. This means you are not just a piece of matter moving through a fixed space. You are a conscious creator painting on a quantum canvas of infinite possibility. The universe is not a finished sculpture you must navigate. It is a lump of wet clay that responds to the touch of your attention. Every moment you are choosing which reality to observe, which future to pull out of the field and make solid. This is your divine power. It is the secret of creation that has been hinted at by mystics for millennia and is now being confirmed by the strange and wonderful discoveries of quantum physics. You are not just a character in the play, you are the co-author of the script, the co-director of the action, and the audience watching it unfold. Understanding this changes everything. It moves us from a position of passive hope to one of active and empowered creation. If the act of observation is what calls reality forth from the field of potential, then the single most important, most creative, most powerful asset we possess is our ability to direct our own focus. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and where you place your energy is what you will call into your life. The question, then, is no longer how do we get what we want, but rather, what are we choosing to observe, moment by moment, day by day? If reality is a quantum canvas of infinite possibility, and our consciousness is the observer that collapses potential into experience, then our attention is the single, sacred currency of creation. It is the most valuable commodity we possess. In the modern world, everything is fighting for it. News headlines, social media feeds, advertisers, and politicians are all engaged in a relentless battle to capture and direct your focus. You can either spend this precious currency unconsciously, allowing it to be drained by fear, distraction, and the agendas of others, leaving you feeling energetically bankrupt. Or, you can choose to become a wise investor, deliberately placing your attention only on that which you wish to see grow in your life. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, reality is created. This is the fundamental formula of manifestation. There is a timeless Cherokee legend that illustrates this principle with perfect, simple wisdom. An elder is teaching his grandson about life. He says, A fight is going on inside me. It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, and self-pity. The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, and truth. The grandson thinks about this for a minute and then asks his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The old Cherokee simply replies, "The one you feed." This story is the key to understanding the difference between living as a victim and living as a creator. The victim unconsciously spends all of their energy feeding the wolf of darkness. Their attention is perpetually fixed on the problem, on what is wrong, on who is to blame, on the injustices of the past and the fears of the future. Their conversation is about their lack, their ailments, and their misfortunes. They are feeding the very reality they claim they do not want. And so, the dark wolf grows stronger every day. The creator, by contrast, makes a conscious and disciplined choice to feed the wolf of light. Their attention is not on the problem, but on the solution. Their focus is not on what they lack, but on their gratitude for what they have. They invest their attention in their vision, in the feeling of their wish fulfilled, in thoughts of love, appreciation, and possibility. They know that what they focus on expands, so they refuse to give their precious energy to the reality they wish to leave behind. This is not about pretending problems don't exist. It is about acknowledging them, and then deliberately turning your back on them and placing your full, undivided attention on the reality you wish to bring forth. You do not have to fight your old reality. You simply have to stop feeding it. When you withdraw your attention from something, it begins to wither. It is no longer being observed into existence by you, and so it must, by quantum law, dematerialize from your experience. At the same time, the new reality, which you are consistently feeding with your focused attention and emotion, grows stronger, more vibrant, and eventually becomes your solid, dominant experience. You are literally starving one wolf and feeding the other. Of course, in a world of endless distraction, controlling the focus of your mind is a skill that requires training. The mind is conditioned to wander, to leap from past regrets to future anxieties. The practical training for this skill, the gym where you go to strengthen your focus muscle, is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is not a complex, esoteric ritual. It is simply the act of learning to be present in the now, and gently but firmly bringing your attention back to the present moment whenever it wanders. Often, this is done by focusing on the physical sensation of your own breath. As you sit in stillness, you will notice your mind pulling you into a thought about work or a memory from yesterday. Your job is not to judge yourself for this, but simply to notice it, and then lovingly guide your attention back to the feeling of your breath. Each time you do this, you are performing one repetition at the mental gym. You are strengthening your ability to be the master of your mind, rather than its servant. You are training yourself to stop leaking your precious creative currency into the dead past or the imaginary future, and instead, to invest it in the only place where you have true power, the present moment. Your life, right now, is a direct reflection of which wolf you have been feeding. It is the sum total of where you have invested your attention. To change your life, you must change your investment strategy. You must become a vigilant guardian of your focus, consciously choosing to feed only the thoughts, feelings, and possibilities that align with the magnificent reality you desire and deserve to create. This act of focusing your attention is most often carried out through the tools of language. The words you speak, both out loud and in the silent conversation within your own skull, are the very commands you use to direct your focus. They are the labels you affix to reality, and in doing so, tell the universe what to bring you more of. This brings us to the immense, and often overlooked, power of your word. The focus of your attention is the currency of creation, and the primary tool you use to direct that focus is your language. The words you speak, both out loud to others and in the constant, silent stream of self-talk within your own mind, are not merely descriptive sounds. They are creative forces. They are incantations. It is no coincidence that the act of arranging letters to form a word is called spelling. For your words cast a powerful spell upon yourself and upon the quantum field. The universe is always listening, not necessarily to the dictionary definition of your words, but to the vibrational frequency and the deep-seated belief that powers them. When you speak, you are issuing a command, you are making a declaration about the nature of reality, and the universe, as a loyal mirror, will always work to show you that you are correct. Your subconscious mind, the powerful engine room that runs 95% of your life, is always listening to your words, and it takes everything you say literally. It has no sense of humor. It does not understand sarcasm when it comes to your identity. When you repeatedly say, half-jokingly, "I am so broke," or "I'm such an idiot," or "I always get sick," your subconscious mind does not hear the joke. It hears a command. It accepts broke, idiot, and sick as a fundamental part of your identity programming, and it will work tirelessly to alter your perceptions and guide your behaviors to ensure that your reality matches your proclamation. You are placing a direct order with the universe for more experiences that validate your statement. This is why becoming a vigilant observer of your own language is one of the most critical steps in becoming a conscious creator. The late Japanese researcher, Dr. Masaru Emoto, performed a series of remarkable experiments that provide stunning visual evidence of this principle. He exposed vials of water to different words, thoughts, music, and intentions. The water was then frozen, and the resulting crystals were examined under a microscope. The results were astounding. Water that had been exposed to words and feelings of love and gratitude formed breathtakingly beautiful, intricate, and symmetrical crystals, like perfect snowflakes. Water that was exposed to negative, hateful words and discordant energy, such as "I hate you" or "you fool," formed ugly, chaotic, distorted, and incomplete shapes. If our words and intentions can have this dramatic physical effect on water in a vial, imagine the effect your constant self-talk is having on the cells of your own body, which is composed of roughly 70% water. With every word you speak, you are either creating a symphony of harmony and beauty within you, or a reality of chaos and distortion. The conscious antidote to negative self-talk is the practice of affirmations. Affirmations are the tools you use to deliberately reprogram your subconscious mind. And the two most powerful words you can ever use in an affirmation, the two most powerful creative words in the human language, are "I am." Whatever you place after the words "I am" begins to define you. The universe hears your declaration of being and rearranges itself accordingly. To say "I want to be" is to affirm that you are not yet. To say "I am" is to claim your reality now. It is to collapse the wave of potential in the present moment. I am worthy of love. I am a magnet for miracles. I am vibrantly healthy and filled with energy. I am financially prosperous and abundant. These are not just nice-sounding phrases. They are powerful incantations, declarations of truth that, when repeated with feeling, overwrite the old, limiting programs of the past. The practical application of this is to learn to catch yourself in the act of negative programming and to consciously flip the script. The moment you catch yourself complaining or speaking a limitation, you must stop and transform the complaint into a proclamation. For example, you find yourself saying, "I'm so tired." Catch it and consciously rephrase it. "I am calling forth vibrant, limitless energy into my body and my mind." You feel the thought, "This is impossible." Catch it and flip it. "I am open to creative solutions, and I know that all things are possible." This is not about lying to yourself. It is about refusing to use your divine creative power to energize a reality you do not want. It is about taking the wand of your word and deliberately pointing it in the direction of your desired future. Your self-talk is the running script for the movie of your life. If you do not like the movie you are experiencing, you must rewrite the script. The words you use are the paintbrush with which you color your reality. Speaking these words of power is a potent creative act. But what happens when we desire to amplify this focus even further? To engage our physical body in the creative process and bring an even greater level of clarity and intention to our commands. This is where we explore the amplified power of taking pen to paper, of scripting our desired reality into being. If your spoken words are the incantations that cast a spell on reality, then the act of writing those words down is like carving your spell into a sacred stone. It is an act of amplified creation that combines the mental focus of your thought, the emotional charge of your feeling, and the physical commitment of your hand moving across a page. This fusion of mind and body sends a signal to the universe of such clarity and power that it cannot be ignored. This is the practice of scripting, of writing your reality into existence. The physical act of writing is neurologically profound. It engages your brain in a way that simply thinking or even typing cannot. It forces a slower, more deliberate level of focus, activating complex neural pathways that embed your intention more deeply into the fabric of your subconscious mind. When you write something by hand, your brain accepts it as more tangible, more important, more real. The core principle of effective scripting is to write as if you are not writing a wish list of what you hope will happen. You are a historian, writing the story of your magnificent future in the past tense, as if it has already occurred. You are becoming the author of the story of your life, a story where you have already won. For instance, instead of writing, "I really want to have a successful business," you would open your journal and write, "I am sitting here in a state of absolute awe and gratitude. This month has been incredible for my business. The perfect clients just keep showing up. My team is working in perfect harmony, and I just looked at our finances with a feeling of such profound security and pride. I remember when I used to worry, and now I just feel so blessed." You are writing the scene from the movie after the victory has been achieved, and in doing so, you are generating the exact emotional frequency that will attract the victory to you. Perhaps the most famous modern example of this powerful magic is the story of the actor Jim Carrey. In the early 1990s, when he was still a struggling comedian, he made a bold and audacious move. He took out a checkbook, wrote a check to himself for $10 million, and in the memo line, he wrote, "For acting services rendered." He then post-dated the check for Thanksgiving, 1995. This was not just a silly joke, it was a profound act of scripting. He created a physical, tangible document from a future that had not yet occurred. He carried that check in his wallet for years, looking at it, feeling the reality of it, using it as a constant anchor for his belief. And just before Thanksgiving of 1995, he received the news that he would be paid $10 million for his role in the movie Dumb and Dumber. He had scripted his reality, and the universe, in its own perfect timing, delivered the order exactly as he had written it. The keys that unlock the power of your script are detail and emotion. A script that simply says "I got the job" has very little creative power. You must paint the picture and feel the feelings. What were you wearing when you got the call? What did the voice on the other end of the line sound like? What was the first thing you did after you hung up? How did the feeling of relief and exhilaration wash over you? Describe the scene in your journal with such sensory richness that your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between this imagined memory and a real one. I remember my heart leaping as I saw the offer in my email. I took a deep breath and felt a wave of pure joy, a feeling of "I knew it" that made me laugh out loud. I immediately called my best friend and we celebrated. This is the kind of charged, emotional detail that fuels the engine of creation. A beautiful and potent variation of this practice is to write a letter to your present self from your future self. Imagine the you of 5 years from now, a you that is happy, successful, and living the life of your dreams. That future self writes a letter back to the you of today. What would they say? They would most likely offer profound reassurance. "Dear one, it might begin. I know you are worried right now, but I am writing to you from your future to tell you that everything works out more beautifully than you can possibly imagine. The challenge you are facing right now is the very thing that gives you the strength and wisdom to achieve all of this. Be patient with yourself. Keep the faith. I am so proud of you, and I am waiting for you with open arms." This powerful technique combines scripting with gratitude, reframing your challenges, and connecting you to the wisdom of your own higher self. Scripting, then, is a sacred practice of focusing your creative power. It is a declaration to the universe that this is not just a hope or a dream, but an inevitability that you are claiming. It is you, planting a powerful seed for your future. But for any seed to grow, it needs the right environment. It requires quiet, fertile, and receptive soil. If your mind is a constant whirlwind of anxious chatter, if your inner soil is rocky and chaotic, even the most powerful seed of intention will struggle to take root. This highlights the absolute necessity of a practice designed specifically to quiet the noise and cultivate that inner stillness. This brings us to the foundational pillar of all conscious creation, the silent power of meditation. We have spoken of scripting our desires, of planting the powerful seeds of our intentions into the fertile soil of the universe. But if that soil, the soil of your own mind, is rocky, chaotic, and choked with the weeds of constant, anxious thought, even the most powerful seed will struggle to find purchase. To become a master creator, you must first become a master gardener of your inner world. You must learn to cultivate a state of inner peace and stillness. This is the sacred work of meditation. And the first thing you must understand is that meditation is not about trying to stop your thoughts. That is impossible. The mind's job is to think, just as the heart's job is to beat. Trying to force your thoughts to stop is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The moment you release the pressure, it explodes to the surface with even greater force. Meditation is not about force. It is about grace. It is the gentle art of changing your relationship to your thoughts, of becoming the calm, silent observer of the mental traffic, rather than the frantic driver caught within it. Imagine your mind is a lake. On most days, the wind of the world, the demands, the worries, the constant stimulation, whips the surface of your lake into a choppy, agitated frenzy. When you look at its surface, the reflection of the sky, of divine intelligence, is broken, distorted, and impossible to decipher. You cannot see the depths. This is the state of the untrained mind. The practice of meditation is the process of allowing the wind to die down. As you sit in stillness, the waves begin to calm. The water becomes placid, serene, and clear. Eventually, the surface of the lake becomes like a flawless mirror, reflecting the vastness and the beauty of the sky with perfect clarity. You can now see every star, every cloud, and you can also see deep into the water to the treasures that lie on the lakebed. Meditation is the practice of stilling the waters of your mind, so you can clearly reflect the wisdom of the universe and perceive the wisdom that lies within you. The constant, noisy chatter you hear in your head is the voice of the ego, the part of you concerned with survival, identity, and fear. It is always rehashing the past or rehearsing for a future disaster. Its job is to keep you safe by predicting the worst. But there is a deeper intelligence within you, the quiet, knowing voice of your higher self. This voice does not shout, it whispers. And it can only be heard in the silence between the thoughts. The goal of meditation is to create more and longer gaps of silence between your thoughts. In those sacred pauses, you move beyond the frantic ego and you access the calm wisdom of your soul. You connect directly to the quantum field, to the source of all inspiration, intuition, and creation. Furthermore, meditation cultivates the all-important receptive state. The practices we have discussed, like affirmations and scripting, are active. They are you, sending your order out to the universe. Meditation is the opposite. It is the receptive mode. It is you, becoming quiet and listening for the universe's response. After you have placed your order at a fine restaurant, you do not follow the waiter into the kitchen to tell the chef how to cook. You sit back at your table, trust the process, and enjoy the ambiance, knowing your meal is being prepared. Meditation is your act of faith. It is you telling the universe, I have placed my order, and now I trust your infinite intelligence to orchestrate its delivery in the most perfect way and at the most perfect time. It is how you get out of your own way and allow the magic to happen. The practice itself can be profoundly simple. Find a comfortable place to sit. Set a timer for even just 5 or 10 minutes, and gently close your eyes. Begin by bringing your awareness to the simple, physical sensation of your breath. Don't try to change it, just notice it. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then feel it release. This is your anchor to the present moment. Inevitably, your mind will wander. A thought will arise about your to-do list or a conversation from yesterday. This is not a failure. This is a normal part of the process. The moment you notice your mind has wandered is a moment of victory. In that moment, you are awake and aware. Then, gently, and without any judgment or frustration, simply guide your attention back to your breath. That is the entire practice. The meditation is not the stillness. The meditation is the constant, loving act of returning to the stillness. Each return is a repetition that strengthens your muscle of focus. This foundational practice of stilling the mind creates the inner space required for your intentions to land, take root, and begin their journey into physical form. This state of quiet receptivity, this direct connection to the subconscious and the quantum field, is a state we all naturally enter every single night as we drift from wakefulness into sleep. These precious moments before you fall asleep are a powerful, magical gateway, a time when the veil between worlds is thin, and your ability to impress your desires upon the universe is at its absolute peak. If meditation is the practice of creating sacred stillness in your day, then the moments just before you fall asleep are a natural, daily gateway into that same creative silence. This twilight state, known as hypnagogia, is one of the most potent and accessible periods for impressing your desires upon the universal consciousness. As you lie in bed, drifting from wakefulness, the loud, analytical, and often skeptical conscious mind begins to power down. Its guard is lowered. At the same time, your vast, powerful, and unquestioning subconscious mind becomes wide open, like a field of freshly tilled soil at dusk, ready to receive whatever seeds you choose to plant. The thoughts and, more importantly, the feelings you hold in your mind as you drift off to sleep are the instructions you give to your creative subconscious to work on all night long. Your subconscious mind does not sleep. While your conscious self is away, it is working diligently, sorting through the day's information, healing your body, and connecting with the quantum field to align the energies and probabilities for your coming day. The feeling you carry into sleep is the primary directive you give it for its night's work. To go to sleep, replaying an argument from the day, worrying about your finances, or feeling a sense of lack is to instruct your subconscious to spend the next 8 hours marinating in that negative frequency. You are, in effect, placing an order for more circumstances that will generate more arguments, more financial worry, and more lack. This is why the age-old wisdom, to never go to sleep angry, is not just good relationship advice. It is a fundamental spiritual law. Before you sleep, you must consciously cleanse the palate of your mind, releasing the day's resentments and choosing to enter the creative chamber of sleep in a state of peace and gratitude. The creative power of the subconscious during sleep is legendary. It is a wellspring of genius and insight. Sir Paul McCartney famously recounted how the entire melody for Yesterday, one of the most famous and beloved songs ever written, came to him fully formed in a dream. He woke up, immediately went to a piano to play it so he wouldn't forget, and was so stunned by its perfection that for weeks he asked people in the music industry if they had ever heard it before, as he was convinced he must have unconsciously plagiarized it. He hadn't. His subconscious mind, the creative genius within, had simply delivered a masterpiece to him while his conscious ego was out of the way. This is the power available to all of us. When we give our subconscious a problem to solve or a vision to create, it will work in the background and deliver inspiration and solutions to us, often in our dreams or upon waking. The mystic Neville Goddard taught a simple and profoundly effective technique for utilizing this state, which could be called the lullaby method. Once you are in bed and ready for sleep, the first step is to bring to mind your desire, already fulfilled. Then, condense the feeling of that achievement into a short, simple phrase that implies it is done. The phrase could be, "Thank you," as you feel the gratitude for your answered prayer. It could be, "Isn't it wonderful?" as you marvel at your good fortune. It could simply be the word "success" or "healed." Choose a phrase that resonates with you. Then, as you are drifting off, begin to repeat this phrase, silently, over and over, like a gentle lullaby. Don't force it or strain. Just loop the words and the feeling they evoke through your mind, allowing yourself to be lulled to sleep by the sensation of your wish already being a concrete fact. To fall asleep in the feeling of thank you is to command the universe and your subconscious to bring you more experiences for which you can be thankful. This practice transforms sleep from a passive, unconscious act into an active and powerful session of deliberate creation. You are no longer leaving your nightly programming to chance, at the mercy of the day's random events. You are becoming the master programmer, consciously selecting the reality you wish to awaken to. You are using this sacred gateway to speak directly to the master builder within, providing it with the emotional blueprint for the life you desire. This is a profound form of passive creation, where you set the intention and then surrender, allowing the infinite intelligence of your subconscious mind to work on your behalf while you rest. But we are beings designed for a physical world. How do we complement this inner work with outer action? How do we move through our waking day in a way that aligns with the reality we are creating in our sleep? This brings us to the crucial difference between stressful, forced effort and graceful, inspired action. After programming your subconscious mind in the sacred twilight of sleep, you awaken into the physical world, the grand stage upon which your desires will manifest. But what is your role on this stage? For centuries, we have been indoctrinated with the belief that success is a battle to be won through brute force, relentless effort, and a hustle mentality that often leads to burnout. We believe we must make it happen. This is the path of forced action, and it is like trying to paddle a canoe upstream against a powerful river current. It is exhausting, stressful, and deeply inefficient. But there is another way. There is the path of inspired action. This is the art of pointing your canoe in the direction of your desire, and then using your paddle simply to steer as you allow the powerful, intelligent current of the universe to carry you forward. One path is a struggle against the flow, the other is a dance with it. Your compass for navigating this choice is your own emotional guidance system. The feeling of the action tells you everything you need to know about its origin. Forced action, which comes from the ego and a place of fear and lack, feels heavy. It feels like a should, a have to, an obligation. It is accompanied by anxiety, pressure, and a sense of dread. It is the feeling of making cold calls for a job you don't want because you're afraid of running out of money. Inspired action, on the other hand, which comes from your higher self and a place of trust and alignment, feels light, joyful, and exciting. It often comes as a sudden, brilliant idea that seemingly pops into your head out of nowhere. It feels like a gentle nudge, a curious impulse, a deep want that feels natural and effortless. It is that sudden urge to call a friend you haven't spoken to in years, only to have them offer you the exact opportunity you were looking for. A perfect example of this principle is the origin story of the global phenomenon, Airbnb. In 2007, two roommates in San Francisco, Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, were struggling to pay their rent. A large industrial design conference was coming to town, and they knew all the hotels were booked solid. The forced action solution would have been to frantically apply for part-time jobs, to stress and struggle to make the money. But instead, they received a simple, inspired idea. It was a playful thought, a creative solution to their immediate problem. They decided to pull an air mattress out onto their living room floor and rent it out to conference attendees as an air bed and breakfast. This was not some grand, 10-year business plan. It was a small, light, joyful action that felt right in the moment. They were not paddling against the current, they were responding to its nudge. And that single, inspired step, taken in a state of creative flow, was met by the universe with such force that it grew into a global empire. A reality far grander than anything they could have possibly forced into existence through struggle. Learning to recognize and, most importantly, to trust these intuitive nudges is a critical skill for the conscious creator. The universe will meet you halfway, but you must be willing to take the step. That step is your declaration of faith. It is you telling the universe, I hear the guidance, I trust the guidance, and I am ready to be a co-creator with you. When you get that sudden idea to go to a specific coffee shop, or to read a certain book, or to finally sign up for that class, you must act on it. That is the universe delivering the next logical piece of the puzzle to you. To ignore it is to leave the universe's call unanswered. To act on it, even when it doesn't make perfect logical sense, is to complete the energetic circuit and allow the next piece of the puzzle, and the next, to be revealed to you. This does not mean you sit on the couch and do nothing. Inspired action can be powerful, focused, and require immense effort. But it is heart work, not hard work. It is the artist who works for 12 hours straight, not because they have to, but because they are so consumed by the joy of creation that they lose all track of time. It is the entrepreneur who is energized, not drained, by their work, because they are acting from a place of passion and purpose, not fear and obligation. It is the difference between energy that is expended and energy that is invested and multiplied. As you begin to live this way, surrendering the need to control the how and instead listening for the whispers of inspired action, you will inevitably come up against the primary force that holds humanity back from its own genius. It is the guardian at the gate of your comfort zone, the voice that tells you the intuitive nudge is silly, risky, or will lead to failure. To truly master the art of effortless doing, you must first master your relationship with this primal and powerful emotion. You must learn to confront and befriend your own fear. When you stand at the threshold of your own becoming, ready to take that inspired action, you will inevitably meet the guardian at the gate. It is a fire-breathing dragon that lives at the edge of your comfort zone, and its name is fear. Our first instinct is to treat fear as an enemy to be vanquished, a monster to be slain. We believe the goal is to become fearless. But this is a battle you can never win, because fear is not your enemy. Fear is a messenger. It is an ancient and primal part of your biology, designed for one purpose, to keep you safe. The goal is not to slay the dragon, but to learn how to dance with it. At its core, fear is a biological signal. It is your amygdala, the most ancient part of your brain, screaming danger. It is the fight-or-flight response that protected our ancestors from saber-toothed tigers. The problem is that this ancient wiring cannot distinguish between the threat of a real tiger and the perceived threat of public speaking, financial risk, or emotional rejection. To your nervous system, the fear of being judged by others can feel as life-threatening as being chased by a predator. Understanding this is the first step. Your fear is not a sign that you are weak or broken. It is a sign that your loyal, internal security system is working perfectly. The work is to teach it that the inspired action you are about to take is not, in fact, a tiger. In the mythology of the world, this dynamic is known as the hero's journey. In every great story, the hero is living in their ordinary world when they receive a call to adventure, which is a form of inspired action. The hero's first response is almost always the refusal of the call. This refusal is the voice of fear, saying, "Don't go, it's dangerous, stay here where it's safe and familiar." The hero must eventually gather their courage, cross the threshold out of their known world, and face a series of trials, culminating in a confrontation with their greatest fear, often symbolized by a literal dragon. And the universal truth in all these myths is that the treasure the hero seeks, the gold, the elixir, the wisdom, is always found in the very cave they were most afraid to enter. Your fear is not a stop sign, it is a cosmic arrow, a map pointing directly to where your greatest treasure and your most profound growth lie buried. To dance with this dragon, you must first learn its language. You must become a loving detective of your own fear. When it arises, instead of running from it, get curious. Ask it, what are you really afraid of? The fear of starting your own business is often not a fear of paperwork, but a fear of failure. And the fear of failure is often a fear of judgment, a fear of what others will think of you, which points to a deep, limiting belief that says, my self-worth is determined by my external success. The fear of entering a new relationship is often a fear of heartbreak, which points to a belief that says, I am not truly lovable, and I will inevitably be abandoned. Fear is a messenger, and its message is always pointing you directly to the limiting belief within you that is ready to be healed. The practice, then, is not to fight the fear, but to feel it and act anyway. First, you acknowledge it. You feel the sensation in your body, the tight chest, the knot in your stomach, and you say, hello fear, I feel you, I see you. Second, you thank it. You recognize its positive intention. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I know you're just doing your job. This single act of appreciation disarms the fear and changes you from its opponent to its partner. Third, you reassure it. As the wise, adult consciousness, you speak to the fearful inner child and say, I know you're scared, but I've got this. We are safe. We are going to take this next step together. And finally, you take one small, inspired step forward, while still feeling the fear. You make the phone call. You write the first sentence. You walk into the room. This is the dance. This is the true definition of courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is being absolutely terrified and taking the next inspired step anyway. Each time you do this, you expand your comfort zone. The dragon's territory shrinks, and your kingdom of freedom grows. The fear may never vanish completely when you are pushing your own boundaries, but your relationship with it transforms. It ceases to be your paralyzing master and becomes your respected dance partner, a signal that you are alive, that you are growing, and that you are on the brink of claiming a magnificent new treasure. This courageous process of acting in new ways, in spite of your old fears, is the very work that forges a new you. You are no longer behaving like the person you used to be. You are beginning to embody the person you intend to become. When you dance with your fear and consciously choose to take inspired action, you are doing more than just moving your body. You are forging a new identity. And this leads us to the ultimate secret of conscious creation, a truth so profound it changes the entire game. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are. The universe is not a cosmic catalog from which you order your desires. It is a mirror that reflects back to you the truth of your own state of being. All the tools, techniques, and spiritual laws ultimately converge on this single point. Real, lasting change does not come from chasing after what you want. It comes from fundamentally shifting your identity at a core level and embodying that new person, right here, right now. For most of our lives, we operate on a flawed and frustrating model of reality. It is the have-do-be model. We tell ourselves, when I have the money, I will do the things I love like travel and be generous, and then I will be happy. Or, when I have the perfect partner, I will do loving things, and then I will be worthy of love. We make our desired state of being conditional upon first having something external. This model locks our happiness and fulfillment in a future that never seems to arrive. The creative model of the universe, the model used by all masters, flips this entirely. It is the be-do-have model. It says, you must first decide to be the person you wish to become. You must be happy, abundant, and worthy now, for no reason other than you have decided to be. From that state of being, you will naturally do the things that a happy, abundant, and worthy person does. And as a natural consequence of your being and doing, you will effortlessly have everything that person has. You must be it before you can see it. Think of it like a method actor preparing for a career-defining role. A great actor like Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't simply memorize his lines and put on a costume. He becomes the character. He shifts his identity at a cellular level. He adopts the character's posture, their accent, their way of thinking, their emotional responses. He lives, breathes, and thinks as that character for months, long before the cameras ever start rolling. He so completely embodies the new identity that there is no separation between him and the role. We must become method actors for our own desired future. You must stop auditioning for the role of the wealthy, healthy, or loved person. You must claim the part and start living it today. You must embody the character of your future self so completely that the universe has no choice but to give you the Oscar. This is the key to breaking old habits and creating new ones. It is incredibly difficult to quit smoking, If your core identity is, I am a smoker who is trying to quit, every moment is a struggle against your own identity. The shift occurs when you decide, I am a healthy person, and my body is a temple. Healthy people don't do that. The action becomes congruent with the new identity. So, the most powerful question you can ask yourself in any given situation is, what would the version of me who already has everything I desire do right now? How would the wealthy, abundant version of you handle this spill? With fear or with calm trust? How would the vibrantly healthy version of you choose their lunch? How would the unconditionally loved version of you respond to this criticism? By consistently choosing the action that aligns with your future self, you are actively being that person now, collapsing time and making your future a present-day fact. This embodiment is not just a mental game, it is a physical one. It's about, quite literally, dressing the part, not necessarily with expensive clothes, but with the energy and posture of your future self. How does the confident you walk into a room? Do they slouch, avoid eye contact, and hope not to be noticed? Or do they walk tall, with their shoulders back, a gentle smile, and make warm eye contact? How do they speak? With an upward inflection of uncertainty in their voice, or with the calm, measured tones of someone who trusts themselves completely? Start carrying yourself with the physical bearing of the person you are becoming. Let your body be the first to receive the memo that a new identity is in charge. This sends an undeniable signal to your subconscious mind and to the universe that the shift is not a future hope, it is a current reality. This daily process of embodying a new identity, of thinking, feeling, and acting as your future self, does more than just change your mood or your habits. It fundamentally changes your vibration. It alters the quality of the light, the energy, and the information that you are constantly broadcasting out into the world. This brings us to the final piece of our creative puzzle. An understanding of this personal energy field, the luminous body of light that surrounds you and acts as the interface between your inner world and the outer universe. This is the human aura. As you consistently embody the identity of your future self, thinking their thoughts, feeling their feelings, and taking their courageous actions, you are performing a profound act of vibrational alchemy. You are fundamentally changing the energetic signature that you broadcast to the universe. This signature, this personal atmosphere of your soul, is known as the human aura. It is the luminous body of light that surrounds your physical form, the final and most honest expression of your inner state, and the interface through which you attract or repel the experiences of your life. You are more than just a physical body, you are a being of light, and the quality of your light determines the quality of your reality. Your aura is a living, breathing, vibrational mirror of your inner world. Every thought you think and every emotion you feel is instantly reflected in the color, clarity, and size of this energy field. A person living in a state of fear, resentment, and lack will have an aura that is dense, murky, constricted, and clings tightly to the body like a shroud. A person who has done the inner work, who lives in a state of love, joy, and gratitude, will have an aura that is expansive, bright, clear, and radiant, extending far out from their body and positively affecting the space around them. All the inner work we have discussed, from healing the inner child to practicing forgiveness, from cultivating gratitude to embodying a new identity, has one ultimate result. It cleanses, brightens, and expands your auric field. You have already experienced this phenomenon countless times, even if you didn't have a name for it. When you meet a new person and you get an instant feeling of warmth and ease, you are intuitively sensing their bright and coherent aura. We call this good vibes. When you meet someone and you feel an immediate sense of discomfort, a feeling of being drained or on edge, you are sensing their constricted or chaotic energy field. We call this bad vibes. Your aura is constantly communicating, sending out a signal that tells the world who you are on a vibrational level, long before you ever speak a word. It is the silent broadcasting of your true self, and it is what the law of attraction is truly responding to. This brings us to our final and most important creative stance, beautifully illustrated by the analogy of a lighthouse. A lighthouse has one job. It does not race all over the coastline, chasing after ships and desperately trying to guide them to safety. That would be chaotic, stressful, and ineffective forced action. The lighthouse's job is simply to be. It stays rooted, it stands tall in the storm, and it focuses on one thing and one thing only, tending to its own inner light, and shining it as brightly and as clearly as possible. By simply being a beacon of powerful, unwavering light, the ships, which represent your desires, the right people, and the perfect opportunities, can see it from miles away and are naturally, effortlessly drawn to its harbor. Your work is not to chase the ships. Your work is to become the lighthouse. To tend to your inner state so diligently that your aura becomes so bright and so powerful that your desires have no choice but to navigate their way to you. Tending to your light also means practicing good energetic hygiene. Just as you physically wash your body, you must also cleanse your energy field of the psychic debris you pick up throughout the day. This can be done simply, spending time in nature, allowing the Earth's energy to ground and recalibrate you. Taking a bath with sea salt or Epsom salt, or even just standing in the shower and setting the intention that the water is washing away all energies that are not your own. The ancient practice of smudging with sage or Palo Santo can instantly clear a space and your personal field. And most importantly, it means being conscious of the people, places, and media you allow into your experience. Protecting your energy is a fundamental act of self-love and a prerequisite for becoming a powerful lighthouse. So we have journeyed from the grand cosmic laws to the intimate landscape of our own hearts and minds. We have learned to become the masters of our thoughts, the alchemists of our emotions, and the healers of our own past. We have learned to set powerful intentions, to dance with our fears, and to embody the magnificent being we were always meant to be. The culmination of this sacred work is a life that is no longer a struggle, but a dance, and a presence that is no longer a drain on the world, but a brilliant, luminous light. Your final task is simply to stand tall and to shine. And so, we arrive not at an end, but at a beginning. Our journey together has taken us from the vast, impersonal laws of the cosmos to the most intimate corners of our own hearts. We began by tuning our ears to the symphony of the universe, understanding that we live in a quantum field of infinite possibility, and that our own consciousness is the force that calls reality forth from that field. We then turned our gaze inward, embarking on the sacred work of transformation. We learned to become the gardeners of our minds and the alchemists of our emotions. We traveled back in time to heal the echoes of our inner child. And with profound courage, we chose to release the prison of the past through the liberating power of forgiveness. From that clean and sacred space, we learned to become the architects of our future. We discovered the difference between a wish and an intention, the magic of scripting our dreams, and the power of words to cast a spell of creation. We learned to quiet the mind through meditation, creating a receptive silence for the universe to speak to us. We learned to recognize the universe's whispers in the form of signs and synchronicities, to trust the guidance of our unseen team, and to reframe our greatest challenges as our most profound gifts. We learned to dance with our fear, to take inspired action, and ultimately, to stop chasing our desires and instead embody the identity of the person who already has them, transforming our very being into a brilliant lighthouse that effortlessly draws our good to us. If there is one single truth to carry with you from this moment forward, let it be this: the universe is not happening to you, it is responding through you. The relentless search for peace, for love, or for abundance out there will always leave you wanting, because you are looking for a reflection without first acknowledging the source. And the source is, and always has been, you. Peace is not a destination you arrive at. It is a state of being you decide to cultivate. Abundance is not an amount of money you acquire. It is a frequency of sufficiency that you choose to tune yourself to. You are not a powerless victim of circumstance. You are the creator, the artist, and the master of your own experience. And your primary tools are your own focus and your own feeling state. This knowledge is your birthright. It is the key to unlocking a life of grace, of flow, and of profound meaning. The journey is not about struggling to get things. The true prize is not what you acquire on the outside, but who you become on the inside. The true purpose of creation is the joy of creating, the thrill of becoming more of who you truly are. You are a divine being of light and power, having a human experience. You are infinitely more powerful than you have ever been led to believe. So step into that power now. Choose the next thought with intention. Choose the next feeling with awareness. Look at the world not as a threat to be feared, but as a canvas for your art. You are the dreamer, the dream, and the co-creator of it all. You are the lighthouse. Now, simply shine.